Pardon the interruption, but I'm Frank Isola. Hey, Israel, it's your first time hosting PTI. Do you feel prepared?
Wait, are we on?
Oh, come on. We have to do it over?
No, let's just roll with it.
Hey, be good at this. In 25 years, when Mike and Tony retire, they said they might give us an audition. It's 25 years from now. You'll still look good. All right, welcome to PTI. Tony and Mike are taking their time coming back from vacation, so I'm pleased to be joined by my man making his PTI debut, Mr. Israel Gutierrez. There he is. They love you already. All right, as you know, PTI was off last week, and so much has changed in the NBA. Of course, I'm talking about the Lakers signing Lance Stevenson and JaVale McGee. As for LeBron James, yes, he's also a Laker, having moved to the same state, conference, and division as the Golden State Warriors. He's certainly made things tougher for himself, so is he? Is it fair for Laker fans to expect a title out of King James?
You almost have to because he's LeBron James, right? But it's such a curious move to me. At this time in his career, when he's 34 years old, entering a new system, a new coach, and that loaded conference that you talked about, when he just came off of making his 8th straight finals, his legacy is, part of his legacy is those consecutive finals appearances. Part of his legacy is, hey, I beat the Warriors once, I went after them a couple more times and lost, but couldn't make it. And now he's going to a place where he might not be guaranteed to get out of the second round. You're talking about him facing this juggernaut of a Warriors team, and now, again, he could face them in the second round. But imagine if he'd gone the other way. Imagine if he'd gone to the Sixers today, okay? He'd be playing with Embiid. He'd be playing with Ben Simmons, okay? And the idea that he couldn't play with Ben Simmons or anything like that, he's playing with Rajon Rondo now. You know what Ben Simmons' nickname is?
JaVale McGee.
You know what Ben Simmons' nickname is? Tall Rondo. He could have been a better version of Rondo. He would have absolutely been almost guaranteed again to make it out of the Eastern Conference and possibly take down those Warriors.
But here's the thing, though. You go to L.A. and you look up, and they have all those banners for championships, and they have all the retired numbers. And all those retired numbers, whether it's Wilt, Jerry West, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe, a little obnoxious, has 2 of them, all those guys win. So when you go to L.A., yeah, it's great. LeBron maybe wants to get into movies when he's done playing. Maybe he wants to enter into the political game and all that stuff. That's great. Laker fans care about one thing. That's about winning, and he's getting there at 33. In December, he's going to be 34. And I just don't know if it's enough of a basketball move that he's made.
I agree with you. And part of this, look at the curious case of Kawhi Leonard, all of a sudden reportedly not wanting to play with him. Paul George stayed in OKC. And now you expect him to take Ingram and Lonzo Ball and all these guys and lift them the same way he did Kevin Love and the Heartbreakers?
Is the roster that much better than what he had in Cleveland?
No, not that much better, especially not better in that conference.
Exactly.
It's a tough one. As if LeBron didn't already have enough reason to despise the Warriors for ruining basketball, the Golden Team with 2 MVPs added a player who put up MVP numbers last season. Boogie Cousins nearly trumped the LeBron move by agreeing to a 1-year deal with the Warriors the very next day. Now, he's coming off a ruptured Achilles and could miss half the season. So, Frank, are you convinced Cousin Boogie will be a huge impact for the Dubs?
You know what? The thing about it is he doesn't have to have a huge impact. First of all, the contract is small enough. It's not like it's a long-term commitment. It's 1 year. They didn't pay him $20 million. And they know that he might not come back until March. But this team is so good. It's a team that's built for the playoffs. Everything they do is about the playoffs. JaVale McGee is out. Zaza Pachulia is out. If Boogie comes back by March, I think he'll be effective. And guess what? This isn't on the Warriors. This is on DeMarcus Cousins to prove that he can play with a great team and win with a great team.
Yeah, I kind of laughed a little bit because during the playoffs at one point, especially against the Rockets, we kind of joked about the Warriors having too many centers. And now they just added one who, oh, by the way, again, last year put up 25 and 12. Elton Brand told Ethan Strauss of The Athletic out in Vegas that he thinks that he's going to destroy the league when he comes back. He thinks the technology in medicine has gotten so much better, and these Achilles injuries do not, ruin a guy's career, even if he's a big man who got the injury in his late 20s. But in terms of the way he plays, we all know that defensively is probably going to be the biggest problem, right? The Warriors switch everything.
Shoot a lot of threes.
And, but as a trailing big man shooting threes, I love that idea. I'm a little bit worried about the chemistry with this team, right? Draymond Green was good for Kevin Durant because he sort of toughened him up a little bit, but would he be bad for Boogie Cousins? Kind of an enabler there and make Steve Kerr's job that much more difficult.
But you have to admit, though, once again, the investment is 1 year at about $5.5 million. Here's the thing about DeMarcus Cousins. 7 years in Sacramento, they went 196 and 362. That's a brutal record. I'm not going to put it all on him, but it's a losing record. He goes to New Orleans. They played better without him. And they won a playoff series. To me, it's all about Boogie Cousins.
But he's got that one-year deal to motivate him. I think that stuff actually works.
Yeah, and it's a huge impact. He needs to prove that he can stay healthy, number one, be healthy, stay healthy, and then win. Because if the Warriors don't win, it's not going to be Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Kevin Durant with Steve Kerr. It's going to be about DeMarcus Cousins.
You're right.
All right, with LeBron in L.A., the Western Conference is home to the last 7 MVPs, if you can believe it. But fear not, the Eastern Conference did sign a couple of centers from the West. Zaza Pachulia landed in Detroit, while Milwaukee upgraded its roster with Brook Lopez. All right, those are not A-list free agents, but the East is wide open. So, Izzy, does that make the conference better or worse without LeBron?
I'm not sure it's so wide open if you look at the top of that conference. I mean, the Celtics are stacked. Their biggest problem is health. They need to stay healthy. Kyrie Irving doesn't do it very often. Gordon Hayward's coming off a gruesome injury, so we're not sure there. They're going to be great. The Sixers, they're a Markelle Fultz breakout season away from being great.
You're praying for a lot then.
Yeah, that's asking for a lot. But that Celtics-Sixers rivalry should be pretty good. But you look at the Bucks, you look at the Pacers, the Raptors are still legit. The Wizards are better. You know, Dwight Howard, Austin Rivers probably makes them better. The point is it won't be dominated by LeBron. Remember, how many times last year did we say, oh, are the Cavs done? Is somebody finally going to come out of the Eastern Conference? So it makes it more intriguing, perhaps more entertaining, but it's still the JV of the league when you think about it. And, man, I just have a hard time believing that other than the Celtics, anybody from that conference can be considered a
Here are your 7 MVPs if you're scoring at home. Dirk, Derrick Rose, LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, Durant, Curry. And then you add to it Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, and then the big one is Kawhi Leonard. So most of the talent is in the West. That's why if you're a guy like Kawhi Leonard, why wouldn't you want to go to the Celtics or the Sixers? Now you could do what LeBron did maybe for the next 4 or 5 years. But in the East, if I'm Toronto, they should go back and rehire Dwayne Casey. He doesn't have to worry about being LeBron.
How happy do you think Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan were after that signing? They're probably going to throw a bigger party than Russell Westbrook did for Paul George just because LeBron's out of that conference. But, man, look. I don't think that the Milwaukee Bucks are really going to be contender status, but look at Giannis. Look at that.
They might have the best player in the conference.
Right. If he makes another jump, add Brook Lopez, some nice pieces there, I think the Bucks might be able to make some noise.
And a good coach in Mike Budenholzer. But right now, this is set up for the Boston Celtics because you almost beat LeBron last year. Now he's gone. It's your time. And if you can get back Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving healthy.
It has to be their time because if Kyrie leaves, I'm not
Knicks,
so certain.
watch out for the Knicks. First time we mentioned him in the whole show.
And now for the highlight of Frank Isola's career, a chance to break down the world's beautiful game on the Worldwide Leaders Golden Show. The World Cup is down to France, Belgium, England, and Croatia, all 2 wins from hoisting that tiny trophy. Now, France looks like the favorite of the 4 remaining, but being favored didn't do much for the Brazilians or the Germans or the Spaniards so far. Frank, who do you like to end up the week on top?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's great that we have 4 teams that could all legitimately win. There's no more underdogs here, even though England likes to paint itself as one. To me right now, France looks like the toughest team, and Kylian Mbappe, who was only 19 years old, had a breakout performance against Argentina. He looks like Isaiah Thomas, not the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, the one that used to play for the Celtics, got traded to the Lakers. Unbelievable player, but Belgium is a terrific team. Kevin De Bruyne from Manchester City has been great. And then you look at the other side. Croatia survived 2 rounds now on penalty kicks. And then there's England, who has been catching every break.
Right.
So 4 teams all have a legitimate chance. But to me, France right now looks like the best team.
Now, I agree. You're more of the soccer expert by far than I am. But I'm a big fan of this Belgian team. I really want to see them advance.
Yeah.
Obviously, De Bruyne, Lukaku, they're just
Hazard.
Yeah, they got the whole sort of golden generation thing. And that's one of the things I'd like to see sort of work out. You know, it worked out for Spain a couple of cups ago. But you're talking about Colombia. It was sort of in that golden generation phase when the U.S. knocked them out. We've seen the Ivory Coast, I think the last cup. I'd really like to see the Belgian team, and they just look so smooth out there. They're really sort of laying back on defense and relying on that counter. And when they do that, I mean, it looks magical out there at times.
And they're a team that's loaded. And the thing about Belgium, they had the great win against Japan where they were down 2-0 and then scored the 3 goals in the second half. And then they knocked out Brazil.
Yeah.
They got lucky on the first goal. It was an own goal. They scored again. De Bruyne had a great goal. And then they're hanging on for dear life. So to knock out Brazil, and then maybe now you get to play France in the next round, which won't be easy. Then you get the winner of Croatia, England. if they could pull off these next 2 wins, that's an unbelievable run for Belgium.
That comeback against Japan, is that the type of win that really sort of rallies a team, can keep you going?
Absolutely, because if you get knocked out there, and not that Japan fights hard, it's a terrific team. They have big-time players as well. That would have been a disappointing loss for Belgium. But to me, that 3-2 win, that's been the best game thus far of the tournament. All right, baseball's All-Star Game is next week right here in D.C., and on Sunday, the rosters for both teams were announced. One glaring omission is Tampa Bay pitcher Blake Snell, who ranks first in the American League in ERA and has 12 wins for a bad Rays team. Snell's teammate Chris Archer criticized fellow players for not voting the left-hander into the Midsummer Classic, calling it a joke. Do you agree with Archer?
It's kind of difficult to disagree with him here when you look at the numbers. And I think part of the problem is this process. And here's how this works. The fans vote for the starters, no pitchers.
Yep.
The players then vote for first 5 starters, 3 relievers, and a backup at every position. And then Major League Baseball fills out the roster while making sure that every team is represented. When you work through those numbers, it's really difficult to get everybody that deserves to get in. And my biggest beef with it is having every team still represented. I think that makes things way too difficult, and I think that's way unnecessary. These fan bases for all these teams, it's such a regional sport now, yet maybe it's going to keep them interested, but I don't think you need a representative from the Marlins, for example, from the Reds, etc.
I get it. Tradition is out the window now in baseball. It ended with the wild card, and there's so many teams that make the playoffs. But I think that's what baseball, that's what makes it unique. There's so many roster spots, and every once in a while there's going to be somebody like Blake Snell that gets, he should be on the roster but isn't. But growing up in New York, when you rooted for the Mets and they were a terrible team, you like to see a guy there. And I think for young kids, that's what's going to keep them interested in the All-Star Game. Even though my team is bad, I'm going to watch the All-Star Game next week, see when my guy finally gets in there, and see how he does. Every once in a while, there's a situation like this. And what's funny about Blake Snell, they've been talking about him potentially being the starter for the game. Now he doesn't even make the roster because Tampa already has one representative, and that's the catcher, Wilson Ramos, who got voted in, and that's why he didn't make it. That's why it's difficult.
One of the other things Archer said, though, that I disagree with is he shouldn't be in as a reserve or a replacement. It doesn't take away from your all-star appearance if you go in as a reserve or a replacement player. You're in. Heck, he might even start if he goes in as a reserve.
And we've seen this in the NBA a bunch of times where guys get hurt and they're replaced. And if Verlander pitches on Sunday, there's a chance that Snell still can get in. So I think it'll work out for him. But you know what? This is actually a good thing for baseball when people are talking about the same thing in the NBA. We all talk about who didn't make it and who got it.
And the players need to be quiet about when the media used to pick and got it wrong. Well, the players picked 5 starters and they pretty much got it wrong.
We usually get it right, believe it or not. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll decide where's the best place for Carmelo Anthony to land.
And Travis Pastrana turns back the clock with a few Evel Knievel-inspired jumps.
Do you like it so far?
I mean,
we could
switch
seats.
To this, I think it'll take over next week.
All right, it's mail time, folks. This is when you write in, hoping that Tony and Mike will answer. But no, you get stuck with us, the much younger crew. Let's see what's first.
Definitely in my top 10 of PTI games right here.
There we go. Well, let's hope you're good at it. All right, halfway through, should we now expect Roger Federer and Serena Williams to win Wimbledon?
Short answer, yes. Of course. Serena said the other day that these ladies play at a different level against her, right? And what does she do? Goes out and wins 6-2, 6-2 in the round of 16. The highest remaining ranked player is Angelique Kerber, who's number 11, and Serena's 6-2 against her. Federer has, count 'em, 8 Wimbledon titles, and in this tournament has faced, count 'em, 1 break point. And so, yes, I'm going to go ahead and take Federer and Serena to win it at this point.
Yeah, Serena, for her, is more wide open in the on her side of the draw. For the men, a little bit more difficult because Nadal is still there at some point, and he has lost to Nadal on the grass court. But it's amazing. The combined age, 72, combined Wimbledon's 15, and 5 combined kids.
Yeah, you're right.
It's amazing that people are still doing this at this age.
Yeah, you're right about the men's side of the draw, where you've got, I mean, the Federer-Isner matchup potential in the semifinals would be intriguing. I'd like to see John Isner get past Raonic in the quarterfinals and make the American
But this is why Federer doesn't play the French, because he's gearing up for the grass court season, and Roger and Serena dominate on grass.
Yeah, let's see what
there's a joke there somewhere.
Oof. Okay, 4 words. Where should Carmelo go?
Oh, back to New York? Back to Mike D'Antoni. Didn't Mike D'Antoni say that the reason why he left was because of Carmelo Anthony? Wasn't happy with Jeremy Lin there. So Houston is in the mix. The Miami Heat supposedly are in the mix. But I have to believe that Carmelo Anthony is going to end up with his buddy LeBron James. First of all, he owns a home there. He's got the relationship also with Magic Johnson. It seems to make more sense that Carmelo Anthony, maybe a starting job is in his future. I think he's going to L.A.
He's already played with his buddy Dwayne Wade. He's supposedly wanted to play with his buddy Chris Paul. So, yeah, why wouldn't LeBron James go ahead and take Carmelo Anthony in? I mean, look, you've already got Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee on there. Carmelo wouldn't be a downgrade from those players, especially if he's motivated to come to another contender, possible contender in the Lakers there. I think he'd work great with LeBron.
How about OKC's combined payroll luxury tax over $300 million? But by getting rid of Carmelo, they could almost save between $90 and $100 million. It's hard to believe. And this is a team that at one point had Harden, Durant, obviously Westbrook is still there. But I think for Carmelo Anthony at this stage of his career, he has to understand who he is as a player. And coming off the bench, if that's the case, is not the worst thing. Dwayne Wade has come off the bench. Manu Ginobili's made a career out of it. There's nothing wrong with, at this stage of career, coming off the bench.
There's no way Mike D'Antoni wants him there.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, it's the invitation to your July 4th party that you sent late for some reason. All right, what should Mark Reynolds remember more fondly, his 10 RBI game or a perfect pitching appearance?
Perfect pitching appearance. His weekend was spectacular. First, he had the walk-off home run right there to beat the Marlins, on Friday. And then on Saturday, a 10 RBI game for Mark Reynolds. And Sunday, pitching that quote-unquote perfect inning. To me, this is an easy one here. The 10 RBI game is by far the most impressive. You know, the novelty of pitching to one batter is fantastic. But let me tell you this. There have been 18 4-home run games in the major leagues. There's only been 15 players with 10 or more RBIs. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, that's the number. And especially now, first of all, we're seeing it all the time where position players are being thrown out there. And I also think Shohei Ohtani, with what he's done, I'm going to be impressed by you pitching to one guy and getting one out. When Shohei Ohtani starts games and then they put him in as a designated hitter, getting the 10 RBIs, that's something that's going to stick out for the rest of your career. That's pretty impressive.
Mark Reynolds is such the perfect modern-day Major League Baseball player. Love that guy. All right. Does Tavis Pastrana deserve some of the love people give to Evel Knievel?
Absolutely they should, for what he accomplished, trying to do what Evel Knievel had tried to do, making the 3 jumps. Here's my only thing, though. I think in this day and age of all these extreme sports and everyone doing every crazy kind of thing, this isn't like back in the 70s, Wide World of Sports, and Howard Cosell is standing there with Evel Knievel as he's about to make this death-defying jump. It seems like guys do this all the time.
Right. This was an homage to Evel Knievel. This was not Travis Pastrana saying, oh, my goodness, this is going to be so difficult. Now, there were some difficult elements to it, at least compared to what he's used to. This wasn't some light dirt bike he was using. It was a bike sort of modeled after Evel Knievel's. He did it in 100-degree weather. He did all 3 jumps within 3 hours. Evel did it within different times, different years. And, and he's 34 years old. I think it's quite the homage, like I said. And I think, extreme sports people, I think, will really respect what he did here.
But, when Evel Knievel was doing these crazy jumps, no one was bungee jumping or anything like that. It seems like everyone has kind of pushed the limits now.
Double backflipping on a dirt bike.
But I did like you're right, though, with the same uniform, obviously the same bike as well. It was pretty impressive. All right, let's take one last break, but still to come. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton have made a decision regarding the Home Run Derby.
And are Trae Young's Summer League shooting woes a cause for concern?
The Summer League now is bigger than it ever was.
So huge. I remember
everyone's going to be great.
Tonight on SportsCenter after PTI, the latest NBA buzz surrounding Carmelo, Capella, and Marcus Smart. Plus inside Tebow's breakout baseball season. Could he be on his way to the bigs? Tony Collins and I'll see at 6 Eastern after PTI.
All right, it's happy time, everybody. Happy 66th birthday, John Tesh. The former Entertainment Tonight anchor and accomplished composer was as much a part of the 90s NBA as Michael Jordan. Remember NBC's theme song? Good sing-along. Like Jordan, John Tesh was born in New York, and I bet you didn't know that Tesh was also a 2-sport varsity athlete at NC State. Lacrosse and soccer.
Yeah, I love what ESPN does with their lead-ins, but that is the most memorable music in sports.
Happy anniversary, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. On this day 8 years ago, the 3 of you sat on stage in Miami while LeBron said the Heat would win. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7 NBA championships. He didn't get 7, and to be fair, this was a public relations nightmare. We'll never forget the look on Pat Riley's face during the ceremony. Izzy, you were there. Why didn't you put a stop to this?
Stop it. Frank, you make fun of Miami media all the time. I was in the front row with some pom-poms saying not 8, not 9.
Not 1, not 2. Happy trails to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton in the Home Run Derby. The back-to-back champs have decided to sit out this year's contest. Somewhere, George Steinbrenner is smiling, while baseball fans are being deprived of what could be a great show. Local fans, however, will see future Yankee Bryce Harper. I kid. Actually don't need him. Who as of today has 21 homers, one off the NL East.
I love Giancarlo. I love both of those guys, but they need to go in. This is baseball's pretty much premier moment. Last year,
like
2 years ago.
In the dunk contest. All right, believe it or not, I didn't screw up today. No errors today. We're running out of show. Let's go to the big finish. Trae Young is 16 of 66 from the field, 6 of 35 from 3 so far in the Summer League. Cause for concern.
If you don't dominate Summer League, it's a problem. But he could still get better and not have to be a dominant.
Make a shot.
The Baltimore Sun reports that the Orioles have 7 offers for Manny Machado. Any doubt he gets traded?
I'm not trading, but the Orioles, believe it or not, 37 games out of first place. Damian Lillard says he is not unhappy in Portland. Sounds like a TV show. What do you read into that?
Sounds like he wants to go somewhere, just doesn't want to demand a trade. Shohei Ohtani beat the Dodgers last night with a 443-foot pinch hit homer.
I'm impressed with everything he does, and he should be in the All-Star game. That's what people want to see. All right, last one. Mo Bamba and DeAndre Ayton play tonight when the Magic face the Suns in Summer League. Are you interested?
Super interested. That wingspan, though.
All right, we're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
And I'm Israel Gutierrez. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
You did it.
I did.
Come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I get to keep one of these
I don't think
Emmys
I'm going to
now,
invite
right?
you back.